It's been a while since the last Brawl Stars update, so it's about time for another one, hopefully sometime soon. So I want to go over what I hope and think might be in the next Brawl Stars update. Let's do it. Alright, now I'm going to go over my update wish list, but make sure to let me know what you want most of all in the next update, because what the community wants, I think, is the most important thing. Alright, so first of all, just look at last update, right? We got Coral, we got Siege, and we got Nightwish Mortiskin. I think that was mostly it. I'm probably missing some small things, I'm assuming. I'm sure you'll let me know in the comments what I'm missing. So the last update was a month after the Gene update, but now it's been over a month, about a month and a half. It'll probably end up being at a minimum of about 2 months between the Coral update and whenever this next update is going to be. So that's a longer time period for Supercell to make out some new things. So hopefully this should be a really good update whenever it does happen. So with the last update, there's only one new skin, so I would expect there to be at least a couple new skins in this next update. The update before the last one had 3 or 4 new skins, and this last one only had 1. So I would expect probably at least more than the last one. My guess is a couple, but what I want to see most of all for one of the skins is a community-inspired skin, because there are some amazing community-inspired skins. I most of all, of course, want to see a Getty Core skin. He has amazing designs. I did a whole video just on his designs. Definitely check it out if you haven't seen his skins yet. I'll show you my favorite one though right now. Okay, I lied. I couldn't choose between all of his skins for my one favorite, so I'm gonna go with either Mecha Bull. This one looks so cool. Or Dinosaur Daryl. Both of these skins, fantastic. At the least, though, I want to see at least one like community-inspired skin in the next update. Of course, though, I also really want to see a new Brawler in the next update, and I would think and hope that we can expect a new Brawler. They did tease that they were testing a new Brawler, and it looked like it was going to be a tank of some sorts. At the least, it had high health. I don't know, it could be a ranged high health person, but that would kind of be like Carl. Who really knows? Maybe that's not even the Brawler or any Brawler making the next update. But what I would like to see, I think it'd be really cool to have a Brawler that's kind of like the Witch in Clash Royale. A Brawler that their normal attack spawns out just monsters that come out. Like low health monsters, really easy to kill, but maybe it has a couple of them. So depending on the Brawler you are, they might be difficult to deal with. Maybe the normal attack normally doesn't do much damage, but it has those spawners, which would be really cool. It'd be awesome to see a Brawler like that, in my opinion. I do really quickly want to highlight this community idea for a Brawler, though. I think this is one of the best ones I've seen, at least in the past month or so. I've always talked about having a flame-wielding Brawler. I think that would fit well in Brawl Stars. It would be really cool. Here's a really great example of one, an Irish or Scottish flame-wielding Brawler. However you do it, I think a flame sort of Brawler would be really cool. This is a nicely done one. Fires out fireballs, of course. Super is a huge fireball. I think that makes sense. And it has an interesting star power. In this case, while she walks, she leaves puddles of fire that disappear after a while. So sort of like a blazing trail of fire. That'd be pretty sweet. Now, I talked about this some in my last video, how I think the biggest problem in Brawl Stars right now is 3v3 matchmaking and just playing with randoms and finding teammates in general. I want something that helps this out. I was really surprised that over half of you all, my audience, have less than 25 people on your friends list. I think the friends list is the best way to avoid playing with randoms. It's the easiest way to have 200 people see who's online and just invite people. I think that's the best way to do it. So what I want to see is something that either helps out random players, people who play with randoms, or something that makes it easier to just find teammates to play with in the game. I think for Brawl Stars longevity purposes, this is a really important area for Brawl Stars to focus on. It's just, look, it's better to play with your friends and people you know, or at least just with someone you slightly know, than just completely random people. Also, last video, I briefly talked about having something like pings in game, some sort of in-game communication for randoms to be able to tell each other what they were trying to do a little bit easier. And this is actually that visualized pretty dang well, just a sort of in-game ping. And I think too, people were worried about how it might look. Maybe you look in here, zoom in, I'll zoom in on that part. I think that would be a decent place to put it, underneath the kill feed or something like that. Maybe on an iPad, you could have it on the black screen part so it's not taking up part of your vision. I think this could be a decent way to have some sort of in-game ping. Also, while I'm here, another thing I would really like to see in the next update, or just in general, is a new loading screen. I think that would be sweet. I mean, they've had different times where they had a different home menu screen, like for the Chinese New Year, and they've had like different music, like with the Clash Royale anniversary. Those are really cool. I'd love to see something like that again as well. But I also think a new loading screen, just to freshen it up a little bit, would be kind of nice. Of course, though, one of the most exciting things in any update, besides a new brawler, it's got to be a new game mode. I think a new game mode would be really sweet, although admittedly, I might be a little surprised if they add a new ladder game mode. As last update, they did add Siege, and I feel like any game mode is a lot more work than, say, a new brawler or just a lot of other things. It just seems like a higher in scale difficulty-wise. But what would be cool if they do new game mode, I think a new ticket event would be really sweet, because I do think they get a little bit repetitive. I know I'm not the typical player. I've been playing Brawl Stars for like 2 years now, so they have definitely gotten more repetitive for me than the normal global player. I still think a new ticketed event would be really, really sweet. Or just a new game mode that's a sort of a solo game. It's sort of like Solo Showdown, you play by yourself, like a 1v1 game mode. Any other game mode where it's just you versus everyone else, or you versus another team, or in whatever objective. Those game mode would be really cool to have as well. I do want to take a moment to highlight one of the best ideas by the community for a new game mode that I've seen recently. I think this is really creative. Would be really cool to have a game mode like this, though, called Detonation. Seems pretty simple. Each team has a crystal that they're trying to protect, and each team also has a robot that is continuously spawning that sort of explodes if it reaches that crystal. So the idea is to protect your crystal and to kill the enemy's crystal. So you want to try and let your robot reach the enemy's crystal and have it explode, and you also want to stop the enemy's robot from reaching your crystal. I think would be a really complex game mode, having something like this back and forth, where not only do you have to defend, but you also have to attack at the same time. And then of course, you got to kill the robot, but you also have to worry about the enemy team. You got to kill them too, so you got to decide where you're using your shots appropriately. Are you going for high damage brawlers? Are you going for control? I think this is a really cool idea, and you could see a lot of different variety with something like this. But actually, one thing I want to see even more than a new game mode right now is new event modifiers, and also have some 3v3 events with modifiers occasionally. Also would be a little bit more fun to see as well. Now, I think event modifiers is a more realistic thing to add into the game than a completely new game mode. Also, too, we just had a new game mode, haven't had new event modifiers in a while. Hey, you know what would be a good event modifier to add back? Life Leech! What a great event modifier! If only they could add it back. Yeah, hopefully that would happen. Anyways, I do think, in general, some sort of event modifier that is good against teaming would be good to add to the game. Now, here's an idea for an event modifier by the community called Midnight, which I actually think is really cool. I don't know how realistic this idea is, but it is definitely creative. I think it would be definitely cool to have it be basically a nighttime version where it's harder to see the map. Your area is lit up, and probably other brawlers are only lit up when they're taking damage. They also have this thing in this version called a Firefly, where if it touches you, it follows you. I'm not sure I would like that, but it is an interesting touch to it. It could sort of, I feel like you would just die as soon as you got touched by the Firefly, because everyone would see you. I'm not entirely sure, but this would be a pretty creative idea, and maybe it would work. One thing that would also be really cool to have in Brawl Stars is the ability to just spectate or watch top players, whether it's replays or spectating. I think would be really cool to have. Clash Royale has something like this, Clash Royale TV, where you can watch different replays from top ladder players. I think that would be really cool to have in Brawl Stars. Just another way to up the skill level and engagement with top players will be really cool. One thing that would also be nice, speaking of replays, is the ability to share replays in your club chat. Also, speaking of replays, it'd be nice to, share it to more people instead of just having it above 400 trophies. Originally, I thought that was, well, they did say it was for testing, which makes a lot of sense, but it's been a while since they originally posted replays, and it's still only 400 trophies and up. So hopefully they can either lower that threshold or completely remove it and make it open to everyone. That would be really cool. I also would like to see some improvements to replays as well. I know, not to be too picky here, but like the ability to fast forward or slow down or just skip around throughout the replay would be cool. Because a lot of times we are just, looking for that one sweet moment, and that's usually it. Not always, but that would be nice. Also, one other thing in replays that is kind of annoying is the fact that you hear every single shot and attack at the same sound level. Normally you only, like in game, you only hear your own and those that are within range of you on your map. But in a replay, you hear it whether it's on the screen or not. I don't know if that can be fixed. That might be a little bit harder to do. I'm guessing if they could have done it easily, they would have done it already. So maybe it's not, but it'd be nice to have. Of course, I want balance changes as well. And Frank actually said, the Brawl Stars team lead, that balance changes are coming with the next update. That also means we can't expect them before the update, which would kind of be nice just to freshen things up since it is a longer gap between the updates. But hey, it is what it is. Can't change that at this point. Also, a lot of voice acting would be, of course, nice to have. That's definitely a really fun, small part of the game. But one thing that's really important to add to the game, and I think they need to start adding it if it's not this update within the next update after this one, is some sort of club feature. Clubs should be one of the more important things in Brawl Stars, and right now they're kind of not at all. Although honestly, since people apparently aren't using their friends list, I guess clubs are more important than I thought. I'm guessing a lot of people are just playing with their club mates maybe instead of people from their friends list. I'm not entirely sure. A lot of the people at the top of ladder do play with their club mates some, but I feel like most of them, or maybe not most of them, a lot of them are looking to their friends list first and foremost as opposed to just looking for club members. But really, there needs to be some sort of endgame content, and preferably around clubs, like club wars or a club box, some sort of thing where you and everyone in your club is working towards a specific goal together, but you can only do it as a club. There needs to be something like that, some sort of reason to stay in one place, you know, gain friends, grow together, build bonds. That's what games are all about, just having fun with random people online and stuff like that. It's always a big part of games. Now, I wouldn't really expect any sort of big club feature to be in this next update. Although, to be honest, from my perspective, I really do think it should either be in this update or the next one, because I think anything like this needs to be a really big feature. And I also think any sort of feature that's this huge size and this important, you're probably not going to get it right on your first try. So I really think you need to get it in there and then get a bunch of feedback, have people play it, and then really optimize it to make it a lot better after you have all this feedback and people playing it, because it's going to become really, really important. And Brawl Stars is a game where it's just a matter of time spent as far as how quickly you progress. You can be free to play, you can be pay to play. Yes, having more brawlers is going to help you, but I mean, the ultimate goal is to get each brawler to 500. Maybe you don't have all the brawlers, but you can still get each brawler to 500 trophies. And honestly, as long as you start playing with people, it's just a matter of time spent. A lot of it is. You don't need a really high win rate to push brawlers to 500. So it's a game you can grind out. You really start needing that end game content, because right now there's almost none. And also too, they need to do something with gold. I definitely don't think that would be in this next update. Although, of course, it would be a happy surprise. But it's like a very small percentage where the gold part is a problem. I do think having endgame is more of a problem, because I also think what happens in Brawl Stars is people push up a brawler, and then once it's their highest brawler, or even once it gets to 500 trophies and they're trying to push every brawler to 500, they stop playing that brawler. Because, you know, all of a sudden it's like, well, it's a matter of getting your trophies higher, and maybe you play it on rare occasions just for fun, but overall you want to push your lower trophy brawlers and get them up higher. Also too, once it's above 500, you don't want to tilt it. If you're, you know, new to getting all the brawlers to 500, a lot of people push a brawler to 500 and sort of stop playing it. And honestly, that's one of my least favorite parts of Brawl Stars, is that you have a brawler you love, so you play it a ton, and then because you played it a ton, you're really incentivized to kind of not play it that much, and you're incentivized to play the rest of your brawlers. And I think it's great that you should be playing every brawler, but it'd be nice to play my favorite ones and have as much incentive to do so. Make sure you check out the rest of my wish list for the next update, including the balance changes I want to see and the community skins I'd love to see in game. It's gonna be it for today's video though. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you later.